Well, the financial media not talking about those Reddit stocks as much as they used to these days. Maybe a shot or a barb here or there. Probably they're waiting for the big pullback, right? The big crash to get back on their high horses and start wagging their fingers. Of course, it could be a real long wait if they're waiting for AMC to derail. That stock remains a juggernaut, and one of the heroes of the AMC ape community is gaining even more stature. Joining me now from Treys on YouTube, Trey Collins. And Trey, first I got to say congratulations, my man. I just read an article about you in Forbes, and I'm even more impressed because there are certain things I didn't know. You're in the Army. You're an Army officer, obviously self-taught. You got a hell of a work ethic. If you can, let's just share with the audience, just how you became so big on YouTube. I know it's over 330,000 subscribers.
Hey, Charles. Well, first off, thanks again for having me on. It's always an absolute pleasure to speak with who I consider to be one of the best in the financial media. I think, to be completely frank, I'm just a regular everyday guy on the street. And I think people really appreciate that because it shows that you could be some Joe or some Sally on the street and come on to the market and really learn what's actually happening here, figure out the inner plumbings and mechanisms that allow people to make money. So, I think if there's anything that separates, what I do from maybe somebody else, it's just that I am just a regular guy. I'm not going to pretend like I'm anything else. So that's honestly what I contribute to, where we've gone. And I'm excited for what's to come, right. Not just for the channel, but for the people. It's really awesome to hear some stories.
Yeah, and of course the article talks about your long-term goal, right? Because as you learn and you dig deeper and deeper, you educate other investors. That's why you're so popular. One thing that stuck with me when I looked at that, the tweets the last few days that I've seen from you, you talked a lot about the Federal Reserve, the repo program and things like that. I don't think Wall Street believes that the apes even know anything about that. Why do you think it should matter to individual investors?
I actually had a pretty long phone call with my good friend Matt Coors. You had him on as a guest one time about the repo market. And we kind of came to the same conclusion. I'll quote him here. He said, it's kind of like the plumbing in your house. Like, you don't really care about it until something goes wrong. Then you really care about it. But essentially, it's just a transaction, right? There's a buyer and there's a seller. So in the repo market, if the feds are doing a repo, it means that essentially you've got banks and you've got the feds. And a reverse repo would be the exact opposite. So a repo is kind of loosening up the economy, right? It's giving cash to banks so that you can kind of, lower some interest rates, kind of combat some inflation, really get the economy moving. This happened back in March of 2020 so that you didn't have, the entire economy crash. Now, fast forward to where we are now, right? You've got reverse repos, which are happening. And just looking at what we've got right now, according to fred.stlouisfed.org, on June 14th, it hit $583 billion, which is a huge amount of reverse repo. And this is the exact opposite, right? So this is essentially, you've got treasury bills and you've got cash, and you're essentially swapping places. So the banks are giving back money and the feds are giving back these treasury bills, and that tightens up the economy, right? So it's going to raise interest rates, raises inflation, and these sort of things all affect the grand scheme of the stock market. And that's why it's important, because it directly applies to exactly what people are investing in.
Right. Trey, I got a minute to go. AMC has just been mind-boggling. The old saying is, hey, it can't go on forever. I would suspect that the short sellers are going to take another shot at the diamond hands and test them one more time. What are you doing to brace for that move? What's the resolve of the apes looking like?
I like that question, and I've got something that I would say to short sellers. I'll say this. It doesn't matter if people think you're right. You just have to be right. That's how the stock market works. There's somebody that's right and there's somebody that's wrong. I like to think that the apes are the ones that are going to be right, and I think the apes think that too, and that's what I have to say about that.
Well, I continue to watch. Everyone else does as well. It's a fantastic thing. Just keep learning. I'm telling you, what you're doing is absolutely right. Keep learning, keep teaching yourself. There'll be trial and error because everyone goes through that, but a lot of folks are looking up to you. And I want to also personally say thank you for your service to this country and your commitment to learning and sharing your knowledge in the stock market. Thank you so much. I hope it's a lifelong endeavor for you, Trey. We'll talk to you again.
Thanks, Charles. Appreciate it.
All right. By the way, I'm going to bring in a recovering investment banker, also author of